Day 70. I just came from Quest Diagnostics. Just had to get a routine blood test and a little pee-pee in a cup. I walked in. I've never been to this one. This is like right outside the mall, right near my house. So I was like, oh wow, usually I have to drive a little bit or whatever. Not only did the person taking my blood do an excellent job sticking me and drawing, it was over real quick, didn't hurt at all. But I walked in and the waiting room was full. But I had an appointment from a week or two ago I set up. So I walked right in, walked right out. It was like 10 minutes, the whole thing. Great. I was fasting, so now I'm gonna go into the mall and get some food. Hey, it's dark, you can't see me. It's still day 70, completely forgot to do any updates. Went to some doctors, did some things, came home, did some work, had my Power Rangers show on Twitch, which is now up on YouTube. You'll probably see it before you see this. Okay, did I do my 30 minutes? Yes, I did about an hour, drawing a hand 1,000,000 times. Here it is. Yeah, done. Let's move on to day 71. Hi! Wow! Okay, it's day 71. It's me, Mr. Gazbot. I sound pretty awake, but I'm not. I actually have had a few sips of caffeine, although I don't even know if it's in my system yet. It is about 7:30 a.m. I'm going to a caricature job during the week. I rarely get these. That's going to be in the way. I apologize. I rarely get these, and I have two this week. I have one today, first thing in the morning. Tomorrow I have one at 5 in the afternoon, early evening, whatever you want to call it, which is a more civilized time. But yeah, so I was up. Yeah, okay. Yesterday I didn't do a good job of documenting, as you saw from the little late night thing I just did. I had two different doctors' things I had to do, and I had my show, which had technical difficulties in the beginning, but then worked out afterwards. And then I did some house stuff, and I was in the hangout with a couple people. I worked on my 30 minutes, which I did like an hour. I showed you that, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, I went to bed. I tried to go to bed early because I knew I had to get up today at like 6:30. And basically I got up at 6:30, then 6:45, and then I was like, oh, I gotta get up, you know. So I went to the bathroom, grabbed the coffee, got a coffee cake, ran out the door because I need to be at this job. It starts at 9. It's an office thing. I guess it's an office party, although it's weird that it starts at 9 in the morning, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm walking into. It's a self-book job, meaning I didn't go through an agency or something. It's just the client I'd worked for at some point in the past. Or they got my card from somewhere. I don't know. And so there's another artist going to be there who I sort of know. I mean, I'm not friends with them, but I've worked with them before. And the client had originally asked me if I could recommend a second artist. And I'm like, well, I could ask around, but you know, if you know somebody, feel free. I'll work with anybody. So I asked around, and I got a yes. And then they're like, I'm like, oh, I found somebody. And this is like an hour later, and they're like, oh, so did we. I'm like, okay, well, why'd you even ask me then if you can get somebody that quick? But the person they got is somebody that I had asked as well. So they had responded like, oh, sure, I'm willing to do that, but I have another call for the job for the same time. So it's probably the same job, because very, very rarely do you get a call for a 9 in the morning, you know, Wednesday job, doing caricatures, that is. So I'm going to be doing with them. What was my point? Oh, that I didn't get any sleep, right? Because, you know, I'm on a late night schedule. And so I got off the hangout at 12:31, whatever, and I did some stuff and had to take care of the cats and blah, blah, blah. And so I got into bed at like 2-ish, which meant that if I fell asleep immediately, I'd get like 4.5 hours sleep. But of course I couldn't fall asleep, and then kind of fell asleep and woke up. And so I got like, I don't know, 2 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep. So I'm having some caffeine because I'm driving. Now, luckily, the drive, well, luckily, unluckily, it's like a 20-30 minute drive, but because we're in rush hour, it's like an hour or so. But, which stinks, but I planned for that.
Reported ahead.
The good part is that it, what was I gonna say? Man, you can tell I'm tired, I'm sorry. The good part is, oh, that the traffic's going so slow. I can take my hands off the wheel, and like, whatever, we're barely moving. So that, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Here I am, Mr. Caricature Man, wearing my Hawaiian shirt. Some people think I work at Trader Joe's. Yeah. So I'm back home. It's early-ish. It's like 1 p.m. I stopped at Target and did some food shopping to multitask since I was already out. I had weird breakfast. I had like 2 or 3 caffeinated beverages because they gave me free cappuccino and stuff, and a cookie and some coffee cakes, and that on top of the no sleep, I kind of feel gross. Not exactly sick to my stomach where I want to puke or anything. I just feel like, oh, like kind of full of bile and fuzzy, but I got to get to work. So I'm going to make some popcorn, which, you know, is junk food, but I'm hoping it'll soak up some of the whatever. So I'll have some popcorn and some decaf soda, and I already had some water to sort of hopefully flush everything out. I forgot to check how long I need to put this in for. It doesn't matter because I need to just listen for the popping to stop. So there goes that. But I'm gonna do this and then I'll do some work. I've talked about this before where like I need to start drawing, but I'm gonna start by checking my email and posting up my latest YouTube video and things like that. Not creating it, but just posting it. And then that'll probably take me a half hour to go through all that stuff. And then I'll, first things first, get right to work on the Hundreds, the werewolf story. Yes. Cat. 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 Hey, I've done some time. An hour, I think, maybe a little more. Headphone lady. This was done. I wasn't thrilled with it. I considered redrawing it again. Oh, I have a little bit of a rough in there. You can ignore that. But I was looking at a picture I had taken of the rough the other day, and I had accidentally cropped it. And so I did what I've done before, where something's not working quite right, and you know, crop it out. I actually like this framing better, but a side effect is some of the things I wasn't liking about the hand is obscured now. So is it perfect? No, but it's better than it was yesterday for minimal effort. And then this panel, this is all inked. This was the rough that I just turned black and left it in there because this was supposed to be on the TV screen. I added some texture to the carpet to add some more shadow and atmospheric perspective. So this is done except for putting the shading in. And then I just have to do this. I might finish this page today. I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to do more art today. I have to weigh what I should do, this or a print I need done or whatever. But for now, I'm going to take care of some chores, for lack of a better word. All right, I came back and I did some more work on the page. I didn't time it, half hour maybe. I wanted to finish this panel. It was mainly just putting in the shadows and the shading on the carpet. I added the carpet in the inking phase, and I'm glad I did because I feel like the shading on the carpet with like the thick kind of shag really helped give it more atmosphere. So I was pretty happy about that. So then just got to do these and I'll be done with the page, and those should be pretty easy. So goo. So it's about 9:45. It's still day, what is it, 71, I think. I'm really tired. I got up, whatever I said, 6:37 this morning with almost no sleep. Drove over an hour, did my 2-hour caricature gig, drove over an hour back, stopped, did some shopping, got home, had to do like yard work, housework, like physical stuff. Then I had to make some phone calls, so I walked around the neighborhood while I did it. So I don't know why, but like I got home, I was like, keep going, you know, and then I did like 30 minutes, but it was really more like an hour and a half, and I started working on a new art print for a Power Rangers headshot. And this is all fine and good, except it served to further exhaust me, and so then now that it's like 9:30, I'm having trouble staying awake. And you're like, well, go to bed, but then I'll wake up at like 2 in the morning, or I'll wake up at 5 in the morning. Like, it's gonna screw up my schedule worse than it already is. And tomorrow I have another caricature job in the evening at 5. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm having a cup of decaf coffee. Psychologically, this should help boost me up. Star Commander, I don't know, she thinks it's dinner time, but it's not even close, so I don't know what her deal is. Yes, this will hopefully psychologically boost me up, and then I will go do some more work. I'm thinking maybe if I could force myself to finish this headshot, because again, I'm behind on things. I need this for the show coming up. I need several, but this is one of them, that I could just sort of like have that deadline instead of, because I was watching TV and like hanging out with Q, I'm like, I'm just falling asleep. But if I could focus on something, got to get this piece of artwork done, then I'm allowed to go to sleep. That's my goal. Yeah. Okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I think I overcorrected. I worked for like an hour or so, and I wasn't getting done with the piece, and I was like, well, I gotta get done, and so I'm not done. With the inks, it looks a little awkward up here, but the helmet, I don't know, it does kind of look awkward. Maybe I need to make it a little bit bigger, but I also think once I put the color in, that'll fix a lot of... These Zeo helmets are very strange looking in black and white because they're so monochrome. But anyway, the point is, the inks are like, quote unquote, done. And normally when I get to this point, it's like, color, and color's kind of fun, and I could just relax and play with special effects. But it's 1 in the morning, and I'm probably more tired than I realized because I pushed past that point. Still got to play with the cats, feed the cats. So if I decide right now to stop and go to bed, it'll still be probably an hour before I'm asleep. So I'm gonna do that now. Yeah, I was watching some Marsh Makes Comics with Creed and Teresa about burnout. Ironically, I don't think I have burnout, but I think I'm starting to get fatigue. Yeah. Hey, it's day 72. I'm driving. I have another caricature job during the week, which again is unusual. The difference this time is it starts at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna be getting there a little before 5. I'm on my way, and it's last time was at an office, and I was in a little cubicle. A week before, I was in somebody's backyard overlooking like the city. And today I'm going to a fancy jewelry store in a fancy part of town called Santana Row. It's sort of like an outdoor mall with like, you know, they sell Teslas there. It's like super expensive. And what's funny is, before I got the job, they were saying that they're like on the site, I have a couple different examples, they hired me through a party agency. I have a couple different examples of my caricature artwork. Some is done digitally, some is done traditionally, some is from photos, some is not, you know, whatever. Body, full body, whatever. And so they were like, oh, we see a bunch of different styles, and, you know, we're a jewelry store, and, you know, so we're hoping you could do a nice fashion-forward style, you know, with your art. You know, could you tell us about that, or show us that, or do that, or some version of do fashion forward art, which I don't know what that means. I suspect it's meaningless. There might be some technical definition that applies to like designing dresses or something like that, but I'm doing caricatures, and I don't think that's a real thing, and even if it is, I'm not doing it. So I pulled a couple pictures that were pictures that I'd drawn at a party of somebody using markers the way I do, and I said, hey, look, here's a black and white, here's a color, you can get it with body or without body, this is what I do at live events. If that works for you, awesome, I'll see you then. If not, no hard feelings. And they wrote back, you know, a day or two later, like, that's fine, we'll see you then, and they booked me, so I'm going. So I'm gonna do my normal style, and it will be fine. But it makes me think of, like, did they even know what they meant by fashion forward? Well, you know, is it a thing where they're like, oh, that was silly, what are we talking about? Or did they try to call a couple other artists who also couldn't do the style they wanted? And or because it's like on a weekday, it's kind of hard to get people to come sometimes, you know, especially earlier, because I gotta be there at 6, and anybody that has a 9-to-5 job probably couldn't make it there in time. Either way, I got the job, so that's where I'm going now. I've not started my 30 minutes. I did work a little bit on the Zeo blueprint, the print of Zeo Blue, not a blueprint for it. The color that is, and yeah, I don't know, still catching up, still in catch-up mode. I think a little bit of mustard might help. No, I think I had kind of laid out a schedule of like pages I needed to get done for the comic and prints I need for the show, and then I have the pages for the comic and the prints for the show have actual timelines. I have 2 commissions, one of which has a timeline, but it's like in the summer. The other, I don't believe has any timeline. Not that I want to let it linger forever, but there's not like a publishing date or an event I have to get it done for. It's just somebody that hired me to do something. So those are the 4 immediate things I need to concern myself with. And I had sort of laid out this, well, I got to get this print done and this page done and these, and forgetting about these sorts of jobs during the week and various other things that are now popping up on my calendar that don't have to do with what I had planned for. The other thing is, I realized that it kind of doesn't make sense to be working on my horror page. I mean, it makes sense because I need to get it done, but like pushing myself to get a page of the horror done when I've got like 6 prints I need to get done for the show that's coming up in 3 weeks. So it's like, what I've decided to do is continue doing my 30 minutes, of course, get any other work I could get done in any aspect, house or, you know, artwork or whatever life things that need to get done every day, and try to finish up the print, the headshots I need for the show first, because it's in 3 weeks, but I need to send the print order in like 2 weeks. So I only have like 2 weeks to get a bunch of these done. Once I could then focus on the other things like the commission that needs to be done in June and the comic that needs to be done for the July show. The other commission I will get to, but, you know, again, it's not as urgent. So basically, I was gonna kind of try to work on everything at once, which I don't like to do, but I thought that made the most sense. And then when I thought about it, it makes more sense to break it up into different projects. A, because when I'm in the zone of that project, I'm working in that style, especially because like the prints I do in color and my comic I do in black and white, and it's a different style and it's a different production process, so it's easier to keep going in one. And I usually work well with deadlines. So while this puts me where I have to get the pages done even quicker, as slow as I am, having that deadline will help. And if I gotta work weekends, I gotta work weekends, or whatever. So that's kind of what I've been struggling with, you know, still behind, struggling to get ahead, thinking of the best way to do that. But for now, caricature job, later on tonight, finishing up print, doing my 30 minutes, I'll talk to you then. I'll probably, well, I don't know, if I can take a photo or something at the job, I will, just to show the diversity. Okay, so it is a fancy jewelry store, and it's National Jewelry Day, apparently today, which is what the event is. So they said something like everybody that makes a jewelry purchase of $50 or more will get a free caricature, which sounds all fine and good. From my experience, everybody that walks in is gonna ask about it, maybe want one, everybody that walks by. So I asked for a clarification of like, okay, so they need to show me a receipt, or, you know, there has to be some sort of qualifier. And they're like, let me check. I'm like, also, you know, black and white color, whatever. It doesn't affect the price, but you know, do you have a preference? Let me check. So that's all fine. I'm all set up. It's a half hour till I start. It's nice out for a change. I mean, it's always nice here in California, but it's not raining, I guess is what I should say. So I'm gonna walk over to Starbucks, get me a nice decaf drink of some sort to keep me company while I'm working. And yeah, because I'm early. It is weird. It's one of those stores that's very small, like it's high end. So it's like, you know, it's probably a really expensive rent. So it's like one room with like, you know, 30 pieces of jewelry. They're probably very expensive. And that's a common business model. I'm not criticizing it, but that's a nice background right there. But I thought it was busy when I went in because there's like 6 people, but they all work there. So I guess it's that sort of white glove service that if like 6 people decide they want an expensive piece of jewelry, they don't have to wait. So none of this has to do with anything. I just share my thoughts. This is Santana Row, which, as I said, is basically like a fancy mall street kind of. It's all outdoors, but the whole street is just a row. And then right over there, Kendra Scott is actually where I am working. So I don't know if I can take pictures or film in there, but I'm just gonna give you an idea. You can see the types of stores that are here. Yeah, whatever. Hey, I'm back. The job is done. It was a weird job. The people there were very nice, and it was an easy job, but it was very slow. They didn't have a ton of customers, and the customers they had didn't all want a caricature. It was mostly middle-aged women by themselves. And so I drew some of the people that worked there. I drew like the founder of the company from a photo. I drew Captain Marvel from my phone because I was bored, and I stood a lot. So it was a 2-hour job. I probably worked 45 minutes. I probably did, I don't know, 10 drawings, maybe, probably less, and not even with bodies. But it was weird because, again, it was pleasant. Everybody was nice, but it was boring, and it just dragged. Because it wasn't even like a store I could walk around. Like, it was all, like, I could see everything, and I didn't want to stare at people because, like, you know, the few people that were in there, I was, like, right next to them. I was kind of standing by the door, but whatever. I got paid. It's fine. It was just a couple unusual jobs lately. I haven't done my 30 minutes, but I did finish the print of Zeo Blue I was working on. Here, that is right here, being all bluey and Zeo-y. I'm going to throw that up on social media, take a quick break, come back, and work on my werewolf story. All right, it's going on 2 in the morning. I thought I'd be able to finish up this panel tonight. I didn't. I put in between a half hour and an hour. There were 2 images. I inked one of them and didn't do the grays at all. Particularly difficult or coming out hard. I don't know if I'm just drawing slow or I just overestimated or underestimated how long it would take. But basically tomorrow I'll put the grays on this, and then there's another figure here I'll be dealing with. But regardless, that's it for today. So thanks, and see you tomorrow. You're there. Good afternoon. It's day 73 of 100 Days Making Comics with me, Gazbot. I'm here near the Transformers Masterpiece shelf. That one's a KO. The rest are all genuine from Takara. Doesn't matter. I am on my way out to yet another doctor's appointment, and then work later. All right, you lot. It's 10:30. Did the doctor thing, did house. I did stuff. One of the things I did was work on a new Power Rangers print for the show. I did a vote on a poll, I guess they call it, on my Facebook page, that for some reason on my artist page only lets you give 2 options. Even though on a normal group page you can give like an unlimited amount of options. So I did Time Force Pink or Turbo Blue, Time Force Pink 1, which didn't surprise me. It's mostly done, except I'm not happy with the fingers here. They're gloved, thick gloved fingers, and they're in the foreground, so they should be a little bit bigger. They might be a little too big, but the positioning's a little weird. I don't know, I keep looking at reference, but it's this weird sort of grip on a thing, and whatever. I'm going to take a break, come back to it. I'm going to do my 30 minutes on the werewolf and look at this again later. It's day 74 of 100 Days of Making Comics with me, Mr. Gazbot. 100 Days of Making Comics. Look at that, mirrors. I'm in a bathroom. Who would have thought? Yeah. So, 30 minutes a day, every day, no skipping, no vacations, no sick days, no my car broke down, my cat puked, none of that. You just got to do it. At least 30 minutes working on your own personal comic project that you own, not something you're getting paid for. Maybe you're a partner with someone else. That's fine as long as you both own it. It's a passion project. And we are doing it for the 3rd time here on the Gazbot Show. And the first 2 times are flawless. So far, I'm flawless again, meaning I didn't miss a single day, did at least 30 minutes each day. This was started by Kevin Cross, of course, which most of you know at this point. In the bedroom now, toys. And we're working primarily on my story, which I'm calling right now, Satan, Please Turn Me Into a Werewolf, which is for the 100s anthology, book 2, Werewolves and Unicorns, a 4-page story. Page 1, just finished inking yesterday. Page 2, 3, and 4, written, temporary lettered, and penciled, and I'm going to be starting the inks today on page 2. All right, so yesterday, after everything, I got my Time Pink print done, which I was pretty happy with the color. I followed the basic scheme that I've been using on other Time Force prints for this series, but I don't know, something about this one I liked. It was a little richer or dynamic or something. And then, of course, here is, I finished up the last panel, so I have page 1 completely inked, and I'm going to start inks on page 2 today. All right, I started with my werewolf story today because I have a bunch of other stuff going on later, and I didn't want to have to worry about it. Inks on page 2. This is a panel I had trouble with last time with the facial expression. I did change it from the rough, which is here, and I thought he looked a little bit too crazy. So I mellowed it out, but then I thought it was too mellow, and I tried redrawing it a few times, and this just looked like a crazy scream face. So I kind of settled here. I got to come back and finish the inks on this and then put the grayscale in, so I'll have another chunk at it tomorrow, but this is where I am right now. Day 75, coming down the stairs, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and you know what that means. I have a caricature job today. All right, I just got done with my job. It's good that daylight savings time came because it's 7-something and it's just getting dark and it was an outside job. Look at that car. This is a fancy neighborhood with a fancy car and a guy had a pool. I've actually done this job once before. I didn't remember who it was, but he hired me through a party agency, and this time he hired me directly, which is always nice because less red tape to cut through and I don't have to give them a percentage. And like last time, once I got here, it was kind of an easy job. Busy enough that I was doing stuff the whole time, but not like a million people waiting, because he also had a magician and a bounce house and a pool. And that's always the best kind of parties, where I'm not the only entertainment, because then the entire party just descends on me like ravenous piranhas. So it's good. And he said he might hire me again, which is great, because I know it's an easy job and he pays, and good. This is weird. It's like being an employee here after hours, except people can still shop. I guess maybe the staff thinks that this is power's gonna turn back on in a minute. I mean, are the registers even working? I don't know. I'm gonna grab some milk and we'll find out, I guess. It has a very snow day, hurricane in the basement kind of feel to the whole thing. All right, I'm home. It's later. I've done my 30 minutes. I've done more than 30 minutes, between 30 minutes and an hour, struggling with that first panel, which I struggled with in the pencil phase as well. Basically redrawing the face 100 times, getting the expression right, getting the pose right, getting the likeness kind of match up. Redrew it, redrew just the eyes, redrew just the hair. Eventually got it passable, got to be done, letting it go into the ether as imperfect, and then put the shading in. So I finished it, so panel 1 is done. Even though I could spend the rest of this 100 days redrawing it, it's time to move on. And this is what we're left with. Once again, I feel like the shading helps it, just the way color will sometimes save some of my drawings. The shading on these often saves it by having a cool lighting effect and things like that. Hopefully, the imperfections that bother me, if people were maybe going to notice them, that the layout and the composition and the lighting will distract the people that might have seen it. Maybe now they won't. And that's it for day 75. 25 days to go. 3/4 of the way down. I'm not worried. Hey, today's day 76. My hair is bleaching. Now for the rinse, and I'll be full Saiyan. Probably not. It'll probably not be that big and bright. Still day 76, doing the comics making Jim Jam. Saw Captain Marvel, got so excited my hair turned blonde. Now, of course, you know that I did that earlier. It was just kind of a coincidence. I was saying I should have shaved it to a mohawk, and then I'd have my full Captain Marvel fangirl boy thing going. But it's 1 a.m. I was setting up stuff for my Power Ranger show tomorrow, and I was like, that's what I was like. I was speaking Klingon, because I haven't done my 30 minutes on my werewolf story yet, which I'm going to do now, as I watch a video from Marsh Makes Comics. And done. Did over 35 as per usual. Mainly, I inked the background of this panel, and I started inking the character in the foreground, so tomorrow I'll finish this up, put the grays in, and likely have time to move on to the next one, even if I only do 30 minutes. I did edit this a little bit more. I shortened the hair on the top of his head. I gotta stop messing with it, but I only spent a few minutes on it. I mostly did this, and that's what I did for today. Today being day 76, and the last day of this video. Okay, so I talked last time a lot about falling behind, and that continues. I've been fighting to go up the river of fighting behind. One thing is I didn't do my Twitch request live this week. Part of it was because I had plans on Friday, but I thought maybe I could squeeze it in. But I was like, no, you know what? It's not just about the hour and a half of the show. It's about the uploading and all the other stuff. So that saved me a little bit of time. That helped me. And then this weekend I put in some hours on work stuff that I didn't plan on doing. I'm still behind, but not as behind. But like I said, I also decided to prioritize things. So I've kind of just put the horror A4 out of my head for now. I'm gonna be coming back to it, but I just couldn't prioritize it. Anyway, this video is getting long. The last one was over a half hour. I want to keep this one at about a half hour or less. And if I put this up, today, I'll be pretty much caught up to where I am, because I'm always putting it up like, hey, this is 2 weeks ago. Like I said, if you want to follow currently, look at my Gazbot with 2 T's on Instagram, or Gazbot on Facebook, or you keep watching here. You can see this and other Power Ranger videos and whatever else I put up. You do the old like and subscribe, right, guys? Yeah. Anyway, okay, bye.